Tombstone, Arizona Territory. June 18, 1885.
I don't want any trouble. So just sit easy, and you won't get hurt.
If this is a holdup, you're in for a big disappointment.
A few minutes of your time. That's all I want.
Considering the circumstances, I guess I'm in no position to refuse. Maybe you better sit down.
All the best people are wearing them these days. It's the latest fashion at the Yuma prison.
Vince Harper.
Changed some. Not for the better. Lost a few pounds. 5 years of my life. And a lot of faith in humanity.
Why'd you come to me, Vince?
You've got to help me. I didn't kill Frank Carney.
An actual account from the pages of my newspaper, the Tombstone Epitaph. This is the way it happened, in the town too tough to die.
Tombstone Territory.
The morning of June 19, 1885.
Sheriff Hollister?
That's right.
I'm Dan Kirby, captain of the prison guard at Yuma.
Whoa. Good to meet you, Kirby. You kind of strayed off your stamping ground, haven't you?
If you're saying I'd rather be home eating breakfast, you're right. Ed and me's been in the saddle for 10 hours.
Ah. Well, I don't guess this is a social call, then.
We're hunting one of your former citizens, Vince Harper.
Yeah, I've heard the name.
Murdered a man named Frank Carney about 5 years ago.
Oh, yeah, I remember. That was just before I got here. He got a life sentence, didn't he?
The jailbird got tired of being locked up. Broke out 4 days ago.
And you think he might be in this area?
Tracked him to Tucson. He was headed this way.
Well, maybe there's some truth in that old story about a killer always returning to the scene of his crime.
I don't know about that, but I'll catch up with him. You can bet on it.
You sound pretty sure of yourself.
I ain't lost a man so far. Some run fast, some run slow. But I always catch up with them. One way or another, they all go back to Yuma.
What's that supposed to mean?
The prison gives me $50 for every prisoner I bring back alive. If they resist and I have to kill them, I get an extra 50 for my trouble. You'd be surprised how many men would rather resist than go back to a nice, safe cell.
Well, from what I've heard of your little jail, I can't blame them.
They've broken the law, and that means they've got to pay for it.
I'll keep an eye out for Harper.
Telegraph me. I'll be checking the border area around Naco.
Be glad to.
Appreciate your cooperation, Sheriff. Let's get moving, Ed.
Morning, Harris.
Oh, Clay.
Kind of early in the day for you to have your nose stuck in such a big book, isn't it?
These are the court records of the Vince Harper trial.
Yeah, I know. I was just over to the courthouse looking for them. Seth Adams told me you'd borrowed them.
Yeah, well, I wanted to brush up on the case a little. His escape is news.
How'd you hear about that so fast?
Well, I've got my sources, too. I never did believe Harper was guilty. The more I study these court records, the more I'm sure of it.
Well, the judge and jury disagreed with you.
Well, mistakes have been made before. Any particular reason you want to see those, Clay?
Yeah, there's a fellow by the name of Dan Kirby. He's captain of the Yuma Guards here looking for him.
Oh, what happens if you find him?
I'll turn him over to Kirby. Thought these records might help me locate him. Find out who his friends were.
Well, Vince had a lot of friends. He was a well-liked man.
Until he started drinking. That made him belligerent, aggressive.
Oh, that's true.
Got him into a lot of fights.
Well, in my opinion, that still doesn't add up to murder.
Well, I don't know much about the trial. What was the murder all about?
A fight. He and his partner had a fight over the Oriental. Had to be separated.
Yeah, it says here that later on the Dickersons found Harper standing over Carney's body with a gun in his hand.
Yeah, that's what it says.
Oh, now, look, Harris, you know better than I do. You can go back and check the records of any trial and find reason to believe a man's guilty or innocent. But this one, I don't know.
You ever seen the inside of Yuma prison, Clay?
No.
A row of black caves, complete with iron doors and chains. Must be bad enough for a guilty man. But for an innocent one.
Well, I'm willing to give anybody the benefit of the doubt. This time I agree with the verdict.
All the evidence didn't come out at the trial, Clay. There was a missing witness. A dance hall girl named Laura Coleman. She could prove that Harper didn't kill Carney. He couldn't have. She had his gun. Harper gave her his gun.
Where'd you get that information?
I could have gotten it out of there.
Oh, Mr. Clyburn. Something I can do for you?
I need a little information. Do you remember a girl named Laura Coleman? Used to work here about 5 years ago.
Nope, can't say that I do. Walton High may be able to help you, though.
Laura Coleman? Sure, I remember her. Pretty girl, as I recall. Left town, several years ago.
Do you know where she went?
No.
Hard telling. A girl like that don't generally leave a forwarding address.
No. I guess not.
Oh, that guard from Yuma was in. Any news yet on the whereabouts of Harper, Mr. Clyburn?
No. Seems to be quite a mystery, doesn't it?
Don't imagine it can happen quick enough for Walton Howie. It was mainly their testimony that convicted him.
A man under oath's got to speak the truth, you know. Howie and me just did what we had to. We found him standing over the body with a gun in his hand.
What I don't understand is why he came back here in the first place.
Hard to say. Seems to me if he was guilty, this would be the last place he'd show up.
Now, what's that supposed to mean?
Nothing. Just a thought.
Well, Harper don't scare me none.
Would me. 5 years in prison can warp a man's thinking. No telling what he has on his mind.
Could be he escaped prison to get revenge. Seems to me the fight started over a poker game. Do you remember who else besides Harper was in the game with Carney the night of the murder?
Oh, let's see. There was Lou Knowlton, Mike Craig, and Howie and Walt. Yeah, Walt was one of the big losers.
I guess it was kind of lucky Vince Harper got caught so quick. Otherwise, you two might have had some tall explaining to do.
You got a big mouth, editor. If you don't keep it closed, I'll earmark you. Just like one of my steers.
Now, you don't want to get into any more trouble.
What do you mean, more trouble?
Give me a bottle of whiskey.
Yes, sir.
Oh, put it in the sack, will you?
Anything you say, Mr. Clyburn.
Good day, gentlemen.
Oh, Mr. Clyburn, I appreciate your business.
The night of June 19, 1885.
I was a fool to come back. Should have headed for Mexico.
And remained a fugitive for the rest of your life.
I'll die before I go back to Yuma. I'm not going back.
With that new information you've given me about Laura Coleman, we got something to work on.
I know I gave her the gun. I know it, I know it!
I think you've had enough for tonight, Vince.
Not near enough.
Look, Vince, I'm trying to help you.
It's too late. 5 years too late. I should have thought about Laura at the time of the trial.
Well, if you hadn't been drinking so heavily the night of the murder, you'd have remembered what happened. Seems to me you'd have learned a lesson. Now, that's enough for tonight.
Now, wait a minute, Harris.
You wait a minute.
Nobody
Vince.
tells me.
It's a dangerous thing I'm trying to do for you. You came to me for help, and I think you're innocent. But don't go giving me a bad time.
Sorry. I guess that got me into enough trouble. But I needed it tonight, Harris. After Yuma, I needed it.
In here, quick. I'll be right with you.
Oh, Harris.
Well, hey, glad you dropped by. Come on in.
Thanks. Well, what's the matter? Business so bad that you've taken to drink?
Is there anything in particular you want to see me about, Clay?
Yeah, I wanted to get some more information about that missing witness, Laura. All right, Harris, what's going on?
Well,
Now, stop playing around and tell me the truth.
I have nothing to tell you, Clay.
Well, let's talk about Vince Harper.
All right, what do you want to know?
He hasn't been found yet. I got an idea that somebody is shielding him. No matter what the reason, that's still harboring a criminal.
Clay, we've known each other a long time. Long enough to trust each other.
Yeah, I thought so, too. Looks like I was wrong.
Yeah, you're wrong. You're wrong about Harper. Just this once, as a favor to me, forget what you know.
I'm sorry you asked that.
I'll be personally responsible. Just give me a little time to uncover some facts.
Where is he, Harris?
Clay, he's innocent. I know he is. Give me just 1 day to find out.
You've turned up some new evidence?
Yes, I think I have. And if I can find Laura Coleman, she can prove that Harper didn't kill Carney.
It's kind of late in the day to be pulling witnesses out of the hat, isn't it?
Vince was drunk that night. At the trial, he couldn't remember what happened. But he knows now. He knows he couldn't have killed Carney because he gave Laura Coleman his gun. Give me just a little time to find her.
I'm sorry, Harris. I've got a job to do.
Well, I've got a job to do, too. A newspaper has a duty to fight injustice and stand up for people who have no one else to turn to. Vince will die before he goes back to Yuma prison. Give me 1 day. 1 day to find out what happened to that girl. Where is Dan Kirby?
He's in Naco.
But it'll take 24 hours for you to notify him and for him to get back. Give me those 24 hours, Clay. I'll vouch for Vince. I give you my word.
You better be right, Harris.
During the next 24 hours, I tried desperately to get a line on Laura Coleman. I questioned a number of the townspeople, but nobody knew of her whereabouts. She seemed to have vanished. The night of June 20, 1885. The 24 hours had passed. Come in.
Time's up, Harris. I've got to take him into custody.
Clay, give me just a little more time.
We made a bargain, remember?
Vince? Vince?
All right, where is he?
I don't know. He can't have gone far. I was talking with him just a few minutes
If he
ago.
gets away, I'm going to have to bring charges against you.
You don't think I planned this, do you?
Did you?
June 21, 1885. Dan Kirby had returned to Tombstone to pick up his prisoner.
A convicted killer, and you let him walk the streets. What kind of a lawman are you?
You've gone too far, Hollister. People won't stand still for this. You can bet on it.
I'm responsible for that. I needed time to find a missing witness.
I spend a week trailing a killer, and you let him go loose?
I think you spent a week trailing an innocent man.
Innocent? Every cutthroat in prison claims he's innocent.
All right, you're wasting time. Harper couldn't have gone far. Let's go get him.
I've had enough out of you, Hollister. From now on, I'll handle this myself.
Well, what happened to you?
A fella jumped me just outside of town. Took my horse and gun.
What do you look like?
Tall, thin, no hat, and a wild look in his eyes.
That's Harper, all right. Which direction did he head?
South, toward the border.
All right, Harris, you got any more suggestions?
Clay,
I'm in quite a hole, Mr. Editor, and so are you.
Clay, I'm sorry about this, but I still don't think that Vince...
You didn't think he'd run out either.
You better go have a doctor look at that.
Mr. Claiborne?
Ed, something I can do for you?
I'd say it was the other way around. I'm Mrs. Andrews.
Mrs. Andrews?
Laura Coleman. Is something wrong?
No. It's just not every day I come back to my office and find the answer to a prayer.
I'd hardly say I was that. I read about Vince in the newspaper in Tucson. I just couldn't live with myself any longer, that's all.
Well, that doesn't concern us now.
I let a man go to prison because I was afraid for my own life.
Well, you're here now. That's what counts. Come on inside. Mrs. Andrews, Vince Harper claims that on the night of the murder, he gave you his gun.
That's right. He was drinking and unreasonable. When he left the Oriental, I followed him out and I made him give it to me.
Well, did he come back later and get it?
No.
Miss Andrews, what did happen to the gun?
Walt and Howie Dickerson took it from me. They said they'd give it back to him later.
Well, that's it. Now we've got something to go on. First thing we'll do is see the sheriff and tell him your story. And then we'll pay a little visit to the Dickersons.
Couldn't you do that without me?
Miss Andrews, Vince Harper has spent 5 years of his life in prison for a crime he didn't commit. I can understand your fear, but you should have come forward at the trial.
I was afraid to testify at the trial. The morning after the murder, I received a note with $100 in it. All it said was, "Leave town, or we'll kill you."
Well, nothing's going to happen to you now. But if we don't find Vince Harper, he may be a dead man. 2 guards from Yuma Prison are tracking him down right now, and if he resists, they'll kill him. Come with me.
One thing. Why did you finally come back to Tombstone after all this time? Conscience?
That had something to do with it, not all.
Well, I'm afraid I don't understand.
I'm married now. I have a home, a lovely daughter. All the things I never thought I could have. My husband doesn't know about my past. And for 5 years, I've been afraid that someone would recognize me and tell him. Now I want to tell him myself. But first, I have to help Vince. He's been in prison because of me.
Lee, have you seen the Dickersons?
An hour ago, they were in the Oriental.
Let's go to the Oriental.
Hello, Walt. Howie. Don't you remember me?
I thought you had more sense than to come back here.
You scared me out of town once. It won't happen again.
That's where you're wrong. Maybe we ought to take a little walk and talk this out. Don't you think so, Howie?
A fine idea.
Take your hands off the lady, Howie.
This ain't your business, Hollister.
I'm making it my business. You're both under arrest.
For what?
Murder of Frank Carney.
You're loco. Everybody knows Vince Harper killed him.
Everybody but Laura.
Whatever she told you is a lie.
Sure it is. Nobody believe a cheap dance hall girl.
Vince couldn't have done it, and you know it. You had his gun.
Well, I guess there's enough new evidence to reopen the case.
You're not locking me up, Hollister.
That's up to you, Howie.
Take him, Howie.
Hold it, Walt.
Well, there's one Dickerson won't be going to jail. Now, we better find Vince before Kirby does.
I'll take care of things here.
Well, which way now?
I don't know, but it better be the right one. That Kirby's trigger happy. He wants that double pay.
Hope that's not what I think it is.
Hold your fire. Get out.
Stay out of this, Hollister. I don't want to lose him this time.
Harper is innocent. We've got proof.
Now, look, I don't want any more interference. I'm going to take him the way he's asking. Dead.
You can't kill an innocent man. Give me a chance to talk to him.
That might be dangerous, Harris. You might think it's a trap.
Vince knows me and trusts me. He'll believe me.
You'll get a bullet for your trouble.
Harris! Vince! It's me, Harris. I want to talk to you. You won't need that gun anymore, Vince. Give it to me.
I'm not going back, Harris. I'd rather die here than at Yuma.
You don't have to go back, Vince. Laura Coleman showed up. She's identified the real killers.
Don't you come any closer, Harris.
Howie Dickerson is dead. The sheriff has Walt Dickerson in a cell right now.
How do I know you're telling the truth?
Have I ever lied to you, Vince? You'll just have to trust me. It's all right, Clay. I convinced him. June 24, 1885. After one of the shortest trials in Tombstone history, Walt Dickerson was on his way to Yuma Prison.
I got a different man, but at least I won't be going back empty-handed.
You got the right man.
Well, I'm not the type to say I told you so, but I did.
All right, Harris.
I'm kind of glad to be leaving Tombstone. You fellows run your town mighty peculiar.
Well, at least one of the Dickersons going back to serve out Vince Harper's term.
Yuma Prison. I wonder if the one on Boot Hill isn't better off.
Whistle me up a memory, whistle me back where I wanna be, whistle a tune that'll carry me to Tombstone territory. If your past has run afoul of the law, it's a handy place to be, 'cause 'cause your future's just as good as your draw in Tombstone territory. Whistle me up a memory, whistle me back where I wanna be. Whistle a tune that'll carry me to Tombstone territory.